Stock Gurus, and welcome to another episode. This is James. We just hit 25,000 subscribers today, which is beautiful. Today we're going to be looking at American Airlines. The company AAL is the ticker on the Nasdaq, a New York Stock Exchange. We're going to look at American Airlines, the technicals on all timeframes to see what is going to be happening to American Airlines for the future, for the next few trading days, and for Tuesday's trading day, the 18th of January. What is going to be happening to American Airlines? Is it going to recover? Is it a buy? I'm going to give you exact targets further along in the video. So watch through to the end to see those exact targets. We're going to also look at the fundamental analysis of an American Airlines, look at all the main news, look at the financials, the revenues, the sales, any profits they're making, if this company is worth buying, and are they going to recover financially? We're going to check that out as well. If you're not one of my 25,000 subscribers that we hit today, woohoo! Welcome to the channel. My name is James. I was an early investor in PayPal, Match Group, the company that owns Tinder, Tesla, and Uber. And for the last 17 years, I've been investing in the stock market. I'm a retired multimillionaire. For the last 10 years, I've switched my profession to teaching tens of thousands of students around the world how to invest safely, smartly in the US stock market. My goal is to help people attain financial freedom. I've made many millionaire students, many multimillionaire students. I have a student that we're going to try and get in 2021 to $100 million, which will be beautiful. Everything you're going to see in this video, you learn in the Stock Guru Mastercourse, a course I've created to teach you this. I do not want to give you fish. I want to teach you how to fish, and you learn it in the Stock Guru Mastercourse, www.stockguru.us. In that course, if you've been losing money in the stock market, if you've been buying stocks and not making much gains, if you're using any leverage, or if you want to have millions of dollars to buy opulent villas like this and be able to afford anything you want in life, you learn it all in the Stock Guru Mastercourse, www.stockguru.us. And don't forget to also join the YouTube membership section. You can see the join button there. So as you take the course, you can see my live trades that I make in the US stock market, which was beautiful. Today, we had a live, which was amazing. I have a mountain in my house, and at the top of the mountain, we have the Eagle's Nest. And Tuesdays and Saturday night live, 8 p.m. New York time, I go live and I talk to my thousands of students, and we have amazing conversations with thousands of questions. It's a back and forth, so it's really beautiful. Join that Tuesdays and Saturday nights live, 8 p.m. in the Eagle's Nest, New York time. I highly recommend you join me there. Also, don't forget to check out on this channel today, I released a video for Disney, an in-depth fundamental and technical analysis on Disney. I do rate Disney a buy. Check out that video. There's going to be imminent big moves for Disney coming up. So this is James from Stock Guru. I hope you have a beautiful day. Let's jump into the technical analysis for American Airlines now. So this is the technical analysis for American Airlines. These are the companies we've been following on tradingview.com. This is our watch list of companies. And we've been doing amazing lately. Bitcoin up huge. If you followed this channel since July, I made a buy video on Bitcoin at $9,000 in July. Buy Bitcoin, now $37,000, so around 400% gains there. Palantir, we've been following closely for a while. Facebook, I really like for the next decade as an amazing long-term buy. Ether is one of the cryptocurrencies that I only teach my students to buy with Bitcoin, just because Ether is amazing coin as well, and I don't recommend getting into too many cryptos. Bitcoin and Ether will be enough to have huge gains. They're the main ones that are going to move the market in the future. Match is up huge since we've been buying at $11. Early investor in Match Group, so we made huge gains there. Pfizer, I really like for the long term. They're doubling their revenues because of the COVID vaccine. Sorry, their revenues are going up 50%, around an extra $20 billion, which will be beautiful. These are the companies we've been following. PayPal, we've been buying since $30. Huge gains on PayPal. If you've been following me on Twitter since 2017, we've been buying a lot of PayPal. On this channel, around $150 or $160, we've been buying PayPal. Disney, I made a big video on Disney today, also on the channel. Hit the subscribe button, the bell, and the thumbs up button to be notified of these. Check out the long video on Disney, where I go through the fundamental technical analysis of Disney, and I do recommend Disney a buy. If you've been following this channel, also, we're buying a lot of it back at the $100 mark. So huge gains there. Unity, we've been buying since the IPO at $52, now $148, so 300% gains on Unity, and just many other companies that we have been following. Etsy, I made a buy video on just recently. It's an amazing buy. Also, check out that buy video. I do recommend Etsy as a company. CRISPR, we've been buying a lot of, if you followed the Human Nature documentary. It's on Netflix, amazing documentary that explains how it all works. But today we're going to look at American Airlines. The reason I looked at American Airlines is during the live chat, one of the students asked me to check it out, and it just looks amazing technically as a buy. So this is the price. These are the charts we're going to look at for American Airlines. If you're looking at these charts and you're panicking or it seems overwhelming, I'm going to stop, take a deep breath, and relax into this. I've taught tens of thousands of students how to do this, and I'm going to teach you how to do this as well. So this is the price movement of American Airlines over time since its IPO. So it IPO'd back in 2006 at a price of $28. It then went up to a high of $62, came back all the way down to $2 mark, crashed heavily, back up to $54, down to in 2016 to $24, then back up to $56, $58, and then back down to $9. So it's had crazy swings, American Airlines, over since that 2006 buy. It's just been very, very volatile. And then it crashed massively down, going from $60 all the way down to $9.80 because COVID, and now it started its recovery. And I actually taught my students to buy a lot of this back at this support around the $10 mark, back when the COVID crash happened in March. So a lot of the students got in early on American Airlines. We're using very specific indicators here to get your charts exactly the same as you're seeing me and follow along in tradingview.com. These are very beautiful charts that I've set up. You can learn how to set them up the same as me in tradingview.com. I teach it in the Stock Guru Mastercourse. You can see the link down there, www.stockguru.us. Go to that website, and then you can get the Stock Guru Mastercourse. It's $333, and then you get lifetime access to the course. If you've been losing money in the stock market, if you've been buying stocks and not getting huge gains, if you're using leverage, or if you want to have millions of dollars so you can afford beautiful villas like this and be able to afford anything you want in life, I teach how to do that in the Stock Guru Mastercourse. It's made many of my students millionaires, and you can learn that as well. Again, the course is www.stockguru.us. Anyone that purchases before the 1st of February, I'm going to announce the winner of 5,000 USD. So if you purchase before the 1st of February, the course, you're going to chance to win 5,000 USD for your portfolio. So the stochastic and RSI, the way these two indicators work, I'm using very specific indicators. Again, you learn it in the course. RSI, stochastic, and squeeze mob indicator. When the RSI and stochastic are below the dotted lines, it means this company is very cheap. Above the dotted lines, it means very expensive. Squeeze mob, red is red, going green is going green, as common sense. Volume predicts price. Now, the volume is huge. So what is volume? Volume is, if you were to sell me your American Airlines shares and I was to buy them from you, that is constituting volume. So the buying and selling of shares is trading, and that trading is adding to the volume. So here we had very little volume the whole lifetime of American Airlines, and then in 2020, after COVID crash, massive amounts of volume. Volume predicts price. So we have a lot of indicators that in the long term, American Airlines on the technicals is going to be heading up massively. Stochastic RSI in the very oversold, turning to head up, very on the bottom. So it's just beginning this big movement up. RSI, big movement up, huge amounts of volume. A lot of buying and selling means a lot of interest in the company, means the price is going to go up. So huge amounts of volume right now. American Airlines in the long term looks like it will be a big recovery. First major resistance is here at the $26. I'll put in these lines here. These are our targets. So $26 target is a major resistance for American Airlines. And then we have the main full recovery, which I do believe will get there, but it will take 1 to 3 years, even 5 years to get up there. But that is close to 100% gains or even more. Stochastic RSI heading up, huge amounts of volume indicating buy. First major target, $26 for American Airlines. And then second resistance is $40. And then third major resistance is at the $55 mark for American Airlines, all indicating a buy for the long term. The overall trend of American Airlines, even with this huge drop, is still, I would say it's downwards trend actually. It was going up, overall trend massively trending up, but then the COVID crash crashed it down. So the overall trend is still massively going down. Then we can go zoom in, we go closer now to the charts, and see here we're looking at the all-time history of American Airlines. Now we're going to go to the 1 year time frame. We're going to go zoom in until we're seeing the charts a lot closer, and we're reading the information as best as possible, getting as much information about American Airlines. So now we've zoomed in on American Airlines. Again, same kind of story. Stochastic was oversold, turning to head up. RSI kind of neither oversold, turning to head up, but started to come down. Huge amounts of volume back here in June, then volume dropped off, then spiked up in December, and then dropping a little bit more. It was following this trend line. It is also forming something really powerful here. It's forming a giant cup and handle. It's not a very clean cup and handle, but still a cup and handle. Cup, handle, usually indicating big explosive moves up, usually move from the base of the cup and handle to the top. So we could be expecting some very large movements here for American Airlines. If it hits from the base to the top, we're talking about a movement from $10 to even $20. So that's 100% movement. So a movement up for American Airlines, the targets put us around $26, and that's where I drew this target before. It was the base of this cup and handle, so the target is still in play, $26. Exactly that resistance that I'm showing here that I drew on the yellow line, that is the target for American Airlines for the midterm. Again, stochastic and RSI, stochastic heading up, RSI trying to head down, but it's looking like it is going to turn up. American Airlines does have a very big support here at the $14 mark, extremely strong support at this $14.53 mark. So it is nearing a buy, American Airlines. I would recommend this as a buy on the technicals because of this giant cup and handle for me, which is beautiful. So that's on the daily. The overall trend on the daily is also massively trending down. So both time frames, the long-term time frames, monthly and daily, are trending down, which is not a good sign. I always teach in the Stock Guru Masterclass that you buy companies that are trending massively up. The trend is your friend. You want to always go with the trend. So right now, American Airlines is not meeting our criteria. The trend on the long-term and mid-term is heading down. However, we know that's a special kind of circumstance because of COVID. And with this cup and handle forming, this is giving us a very bullish signal for this $26 resistance, which is quite a large gain. We're talking around a 70% movement up, which would be a great buy for American Airlines. Now we zoom even closer. So in the beginning, we were looking at monthly candlesticks. Each of these candlesticks represented 1 month, then 1 day. Now it's 1 hour. So we're looking for what's going to be happening on Tuesday's trading day. Tuesday's trading day would be the 19th of January. What is going to be happening for American Airlines? It looks like for Tuesday's trading day, we will be heading down actually. Stochastic RSI are still coming down, but we do have a big spike up in volume. So even if it does come down, I don't think it's coming down much at all. It's either going to hold exactly where we are at 1578 and turn and head up, or it could come down to 1567 or even possibly 1505. That's a strong support there. Stochastic and RSI coming down 1505, it is possible, bouncing off there and then turning to head up towards this $26 goal, creating that big handle that we needed to start heading up. So the indicators are showing it is going to come down a little bit more, but I would not be shorting American Airlines here this low with this much potential. To try and save 71 cents or 70 cents, but miss out on a potential movement of 100% or like even $15 is not a good idea. So stochastic RSI almost finished coming down, can head down more. I think it will come down to the support at 1508, turn and then start heading up towards the $26 mark. It is going to be a sell for Monday's trading day, Tuesday's trading day, just a little bit more. And then coming down to that 1508, then that would be a great buying point at that support to go back to the $19 first resistance. The overall trend on this time frame is massively trending up for American Airlines on the short-term time frame. The trend is your friend, so always go with the trend. So that was the technical analysis for American Airlines on the long term. I would be buying this on the technicals for the long term, dollar cost averaging in DCA. My students know this dollar cost average. I teach it very heavily in the Stock Guru Masterclass, www.stockguru.us. Take the course, understand this terminology, and really learn to master the stock market. It looks like American Airlines is a buy. And why you need to learn technical analysis, I'll show you a perfect example, is right here. Here you get the same conditions that indicate a buy, and that's what you learn in the Stock Guru Masterclass. All my students know this, all Wall Street bankers know this, all 401k fund managers know this, everyone you're versing in the stock market knows this. That's why you need to learn it as well. Stochastic oversold, turning, heading up. Now you know. RSI oversold, turning, heading up. Massive amounts of volume, and American Airlines on this very strong support at $11 around. Let's see exactly, at $10.70. So these are all indications of a buy right there. Stochastic oversold, turning, heading up. RSI oversold, turning, heading up. Lots of volume. American Airlines on this support at $10.70. Now you all know those are indicators of a buy. Now why technical analysis is so powerful with self-fulfilling prophecy? Because it all indicates a buy. All the Wall Street bankers, all the 401k fund managers, all my students, they put their buy orders there. The price of American Airline comes down, hits their buy orders trigger, and it shoots the price up. And you catch a movement from $10 to $18. An 80% gain in just a few months, and you would have known to buy right there if you learned technical analysis. Again, you learn to master in the Stock Guru Masterclass, www.stockguru.us. That's the technicals for American Airlines. Let's go in now to the fundamental in American Airlines, and I'm going to explain what fundamental analysis is. So now we're starting the fundamental analysis. Now, what is fundamental analysis? What you saw in the beginning was technical analysis. That's what most teachers, if you were to look at any stock course or anything online, nearly all the teachers are teaching technical analysis. What you saw in the beginning, the charts, the RSI, the stochastic, the volume, not as well as me, but they're usually building their courses and teaching that main way of analysis. Timothy Skies teaches this, penny stocks. Most teachers teach technical analysis. And that's great. Technical analysis is amazing, very powerful, and self-fulfilling prophecy. However, you do not want to just learn technical analysis. That's one main way of valuing stocks. But there's another main way of valuing stocks, and that's fundamental analysis. This is what Warren Buffett teaches, and I learned from him. Warren Buffett teaches fundamental analysis, the revenues, the sales, the profit margins, the income statements, the balance sheets, the cash flow statements, the real world news, the real world financials, the real world sales of this company. So that's why my course is so powerful, and that's why my students have made close to $500 million in the US stock market, and many multi-millionaire students, one student up to 18 million, because technical and fundamental analysis, very powerful ways to analyze stocks. But when combined together and you use them together to determine whether you should buy a stock or not, it's very, very powerful. And I'm going to teach you how to do fundamental analysis now. And again, you learn it in the Stock Guru Master Course. You can find it www.stockguru.us. So we're looking at American Airlines stock in Google, American Airlines Group. The ticker is AAL on the NASDAQ. First thing we look at is what's the overall trend of American Airlines. The overall trend in 1981, American Airlines was $2.47. So we're up close to around 700% since then, even with this massive drop-off. Before the drop-off, we were at almost 30 times the investment. So $1,000 here before the drop was $30,000 here. After the drop, $1,000 here is close to $7,000 here. $1 million, $100,000 here is close to $700,000 here. The overall trend of American Airlines, even with this massive drop down, is still trending up. The overall trend isn't still trending up, and this company looks like it's been massively repressed. And this chart is actually very bullish to me. Even with this big drop off because of COVID, this chart is still showing me a bullish signals. Overall trend trending up. 5-year time frame massively trending down. Got hit hard the last 5 years. 1-year time frame trending down, 6-month time frame trending up. So we're getting mixed time frames. Usually we want to see companies like in Disney video that I created today on this channel. Watch it on the channel. Also, Disney on all time frames is trending up. The trend is your friend. So when on every single time frame it's trending up, that's a very good sign. American Airlines though is not following those signs. It's mostly trending down on all time frames. So be wary of this stock, but it is again mainly because of this COVID drop. Without this COVID drop, American Airlines would be massively trending up. I am expecting a recovery in American Airlines. They are backed. They do have funding, and we're going to check their financials to make sure they have enough cash to survive the whole pandemic. They have $9.5 billion market cap. The way you get that, it's the price, 1576, times the number of shares outstanding, which you can Google, equals the total value of the company, 9.53 billion. It's giving a 2.54% dividend yield. So now let's look at the news for American Airlines. American Airlines and JetBlue get dot clearance for Northeast Alliance. Kramer shares his thoughts on American Airlines, American Tower, and more. 2 must-own stocks in 2021. Will American Airlines stock reach 30 by 2022? Definitely. American Airlines shoots itself in the foot 3 weeks ago. American Airlines expects to fly less than half of 2019 schedule through February as virus spreads. So that pushed down the stock price. So that's the major news for American Airlines. Nothing too major that's coming up. Now we're going to look at their financials. I'm going to help you through this and teach you what these financials are. Then we're going to go into Twitter, try and find out if we can find any more major... Actually, let's go into Twitter first, then we'll come back to the financials. Now we're in my Twitter. You can follow me on Stock Guru. You type in Stock Guru on Twitter to come find me. Here you can become my YouTube member. There's a membership section. You can see the join button there. When you join the YouTube member section, you can join the link here. Then you see my live trades in the market. Every time I buy a stock in my portfolio, sell a stock, I put my trades in the YouTube membership section, which you can see there. I put my limit price, the targets for my trade, the reasons for my trade, my stop loss, and my trade. I'm usually buying 1 to 3 stocks in the US stock market every day, and I time my entries to be at really good technical entries. So usually my trades are profitable straight away. And that's really recommended while you take the Stock Guru Master Course to watch my live trades. And many of my students have made huge gains on my live trades. I now have 2,840 followers, which is great. I was at 500 just a few weeks ago. So a lot of you guys are moving on to Twitter, and Twitter is an amazing way to value stocks. And I'll show you why. These are student reviews of the Stock Guru Master Course, which you can find at www.stockguru.us. This is Nicole. She was down 90,000, took my course, saved 90,000. Now she's up 700,000. And here you can just find hundreds of reviews, read them from my students. Buying $2 million houses, paying off mortgages, buying Ferraris, paying off student loans, many people losing their jobs. This student, 17 years and is up 80%, and you can just see amazing life-changing stories here. Many people paying off medical bills and just finding a new way to supplement their income after COVID. Great stories. Check those out. Read them from my students. It's beautiful. Here, JP Morgan today raised its price on Disney to $210 from $175, which is beautiful because I just made a video on Disney today. Check that out. This is the live from today. There was around 300 plus people in the live at one point, or even more. Here you can see, this is what I'm looking at during the lives. so you can follow along. This is the live chat with many questions, hundreds of questions from my students. And here I pull up the charts and I see them. And if you take the Stock Guru Mastercourse, you can see how to set up these charts like me and follow me during the lives as I talk about the stocks. Here's just different questions that I got from the students. Airbnb up 17%, CRISPR 14%, name a few, and just many cool reviews from my students. Check that out. This was what the lives look like from my end. And this is from one of my students, Flynn Kittenden. I can see why you like Twitter. This is a personalized news factory. I joined Twitter to follow you, and wow, what a tool it is for keeping informed. Love your videos, mate. Good on you. Done your course and watch your videos for 2 months. Cheers. And here was the live from yesterday. Ahmed is one of my students. He's at $18 million right now in gains. That's huge. And you can just see many just information that I share. On the 16 days, NIO announced January car figures. This is a video I made on Etsy stock. Check that out. Etsy is a very powerful company, and I do recommend it to buy. I made a video on it a few days ago. Go through and check out these different stories, very interesting stories from the students. And then what you can also do is you can type in $AAL. And what we're trying to find here is this is why Twitter is amazing. You can type any company name, any company ticker. You can type Tesla, you can type Elon Musk, you can follow Elon Musk, you can follow Tim Cook, you can follow me, so you can see real world information about companies even before the news sees them. And that's why it's so powerful, Twitter. And you can type any company name and sort by top information, and you get the top news about that company before even the news agencies do. American Airlines, we have liftoff, so someone expects some big movements up for American Airlines. Let's turn on the Wi-Fi. This image doesn't seem to be loading. Here we go. So technicals also showing buys on this, guys. Technicals, mine are better, but take mine. So there's a lot of technicals are showing buys as I showed. So trying to find any major news for American Airlines. American Airlines is popping now. That was 4 days ago. So it's mostly people talking about their gains, not anything about the company. So it's better we type in American Airlines, and then we can get more news from here, I think. So we type in American Airlines. Now we're looking to see any major news that can affect American Airlines stock. They've suspended alcohol service on flights to and from Washington because of the whole inauguration. People booking flights. In 1959, American Airlines became the first airline to offer non-stop coast-to-coast jet services in the United States. This lady refusing to wear her mask in Washington. Face coverings are required by all customers for everyone's safety. You'd like more information. So trying to find any major information that can be affecting the American Airlines stock. So people kicked off planes for not wearing masks. I mean, the air is not so nice on a plane anyway. It's probably better to wear a mask, but the flights are long. It's understandable. American Airlines is launching the first health passport for international travelers headed to the US. So it doesn't seem to be any major news for American Airlines. The 737 MAX departing Miami, January, that was back in on the 11th. So 73 MAX 7 flying again. So no major news for American Airlines right now. They do seem to be flying, which is good to see. Beginning January 26th, the US government will require all passengers traveling to the United States from any international location to test negative for COVID-19 within 3 calendar days of departure. So that's a new requirement. We can share that information. So that's the main information for American Airlines, guys. Nothing too major that's going to affect the stock. And again, you can follow me on Stock Guru. Type Stock Guru in the search to get me to come up. Click on me and follow me. And then when you follow me, you can also check out the Stock Guru Mastercourse. So here's the Stock Guru Mastercourse, www.stockguru.us, currently $333. It will be going slowly to $3,000. My producers will slowly increase it just because the number of students we're getting is quite overwhelming. Greetings from, and anyone that purchased the course, I also match the same number of courses to students under 18 around the world. We have thousands of Stock Guru Academy students now. So if you purchase, you're donating a course. I match the same number of courses to students under 18. We have students in Hawaii, in many countries, Sweden, Germany, many in the US, and it's beautiful. That way we're teaching many young students how to invest and invest smartly in the US stock market when they're young. So instead of buying Nike shoes, they buy Nike the company. Instead of buying Starbucks coffees, they buy Starbucks the company. Instead of buying drugs, alcohol, they'll be investing in the stock market and going and partying on weekend. They'll rather be growing their money. And I've seen that with many students. And I have many under 18-year-old students, hundreds of them. So that's beautiful. This is one of my students greeting from Sweden. Bought a Ferrari 430 Scadia following your gains. Chuck, I'm officially without a mortgage. Thank you, James. Stayfly, I'm up 330,000. Stayfly is up 850,000 now. Patrick Lamb, he's up 100K. He lost his main work during COVID. He's an amazing musician. Check out his saxophone music on YouTube. Patrick Lamb, you search for. He was doing 200 events a year in Europe. Because of the shutdown, he wasn't able to work. Now he's up $100,000 plus in profits following me. David, you're a legend. You're doing 450% on my portfolio. Thank you a lot. Love you, James. Made my life so much better from Brendan. Made me a ton, saved me a ton. Got his course, watching over on free time, and definitely going to teach my kids as well. Smart parenting. And Nicole's up 700K. And here you can read about the Stock Guru Master Course and everything that's in it and how it will help you in your investing during your time. And here you can see the ratings. 32 5-star. 25,000 students, 1 million YouTube views, and 500 million in profits for my students. You can click buy this to get the Stock Guru Master Course. You put in your credit card information, and it's $333. Anyone that purchases the course before the 1st of February, so in less than 2 weeks or around 12 days, goes in the chance I give one student 5,000 USD. I'm going to announce that on the 1st of February. So that way, if someone takes my course, they learn the information, they get $5,000, one of the students, after taking my course, and then that we can watch their progress with my knowledge and 5,000 USD, which will be amazing. Again, purchase the course, www.stockguru.us. Many of my students ask what the first thing they should purchase, which stock. I recommend the Stock Guru Master Course so you learn and understand everything about the stock market before you even start. It will save you a ton of pain. 17 years I've been investing. So now let's go into the financials of American Airlines, and I'm going to show you how to read financial statements. So American Airlines Group is an American publicly traded airline company headquartered in Texas. It was formed in 2013 by the merger of AMR Corporation, the parent company of American Airlines, and US Airways Group. CEO Doug Parker, $45 billion in revenue in 2019 in Fort Worth, Texas. These are the quarterly financials. Then we're going to go in my broker, Charles Schwab, to go more in depth in the financials. So in December 2019, it was making what we're looking for here in financials, quarterly financials. As a publicly traded company, it's required by law to announce its earnings to its owners, the public, you guys, anyone who owns an American Airlines stock. It is required by law to announce the earnings per share and their revenues, their sales to the owners, the public. So we're looking for huge revenues, huge revenue increases, large profit margins, massive amounts of cash. That's the four main criteria we're looking at fundamentally before buying a stock on the financials. So it had 11.3 billion in December 2019 in sales for that 3 months, up 3.43% year on year. So small growth, but huge revenues. 3.66% profit margin, which is quite low profit margin, but still profitable. And then cash on hand, 280 million. That was in December before COVID. Now, March, during COVID, revenues dropped massively, 8.5 billion in sales for that 3 months, down 20%. Profit margins dropping massively, 26% negative, and cash on hand, 474 million. June, even worse, $1.62 billion in sales, huge drop. Net profit margin down 127%, so losing massive amounts of money. Cash on hand up 400 to 462 million. And then after slight recovery in September, sales 3.17 billion in revenue, still down 73% year on year. Huge net profit drop of 75%, massive losses. Cash on hand $253 million. Their Q4 earnings report will be scheduled for January 2028. So in the next 2 weeks, we are expecting an annual report. Expected earnings per share negative $4.13. Expected revenue 3.87 billion. So a lot of negative expectations for American Airlines. I think they could surprise on a bit more of a recovery than analysts are expecting, which will pump the stock. So it's not meeting a lot of the criteria. Revenues before COVID were massive, but now no. So that's not a tick, but revenues are still massive, except we have to kind of knock out COVID because it is a temporary thing. American Airlines will most likely recover. Year-on-year revenue growth is a negative. It's not growing. It's been declining. Net profit margin's very low. It was only 3% before COVID. After COVID, it's negative 75%. So this is a losing money company in a way. It will take a very long time to recover. Cash on hand, 253 million. Tick, it has a lot of cash to continue. But is that enough? The net change in cash for that 3 months was 170 million. So is that enough cash to survive this COVID pandemic and continue operations? It is a little bit dangerous. They're getting close. So now let's go into my broker, Charles Schwab, to go more in depth into the financials. So now we're in my broker, Charles Schwab, and we're looking at American Airlines Company in my broker. Charles Schwab is a very highly recommended broker. I do really recommend them. If you're American, it's very easy to set up an account and you don't require any minimums for your account. If you're international, you do need 25,000 USD to open a Charles Schwab brokerage account. If you're European, I recommend Interactive Brokers. For the best brokers for you and your country, I teach this in the Stock Guru Master Course. Again, www.stockguru.us. You'll learn the best brokers for you. I also show you the buttons and settings to press in your broker to start buying stocks in the stock market. So you'll type AAL American Airlines in the search to see it in your broker. American Airlines Group is the company. On the NASDAQ, the ticker is AAL. Last price $15.76. Last price $15.76. Bid is what people are willing to pay, $15.77. Ask is what people are willing to sell the stock, $15.80. Huge volume recently for American Airlines, up 55 million shares being traded. That's massive amounts of volume. Volume predicts price. Always remember this. Earnings per share negative $13, so losing money. $9.5 billion in market cap, so quite low market cap at the moment. Enterprise value $33 billion, so it's very undervalued at the moment in a way. 43% shares held by institution. The overall trend of American Airlines is massively trending down because of COVID. However, volume was pretty dead up until COVID, and after that, huge amounts of volume. Volume predicts price. When there's lots of volume, that means there's a lot of interest in this company, and that means it can be spiking up soon. Volume predicts price. Analyst actions, Seth Grunner adjusts American Airlines Group price target to $10 from $8, negative rating. So we're trying to find any. American Airlines is first U.S. airline to introduce health passport for all international travelers. We saw that. American Airlines Group announces webcast for fourth quarter and full year 2020 financials results, which will be on the 28th of January. American Airlines advanced strategic alliance following regulation review. So no major news for American Airlines. Charles Schwab has an F rating on American Airlines. Credit research underperformed. Ned Davis sell. Argus is a hold. CFI is a sell. Reuters is underperformed. Market edge is along. So most of the analysts are saying sell or hold. Mostly sell. So they're expecting further downside for American Airlines. I believe it did bottom out at the $8. It can be a recovery play, but the financials are not looking too good for me. So it is a bit speculative. It is a bit risky. So if you do really like American Airlines, I would dollar cost average, but I wouldn't put too much capital in this because their sales just got hit so badly. So now we're looking at the financials of American Airlines. I'm going to teach you how to read income statements, balance sheets, cash flow statements. You learn how to master this in the Stock Guru Master Course. Again, www.stockguru.us. I teach you how to read these. So total revenue of American Airlines, 2015, $40 billion in sales. 2019, $45 billion in sales. So even before COVID, the revenues were quite high, $40 billion, but not much growth. $40 billion to $45 billion in 4-year period means this company is not really growing. And that's dangerous to see. We want to see companies, we're looking for massive companies with huge revenues, huge year-on-year revenue growth, massive profit margins, large amounts of cash. American Airlines is not ticking this. 40 billion in revenues, huge revenues, 45 billion in 2019, huge revenues tick. Huge revenue growth? No, it only went 5 billion up in 4 years. It's not much growth. Then we look at the profit margins, how much money they made from that 45 billion in sales. They made 2.35 billion before COVID. So that means they're converting only 4% of their sales into profits. So they're not doing so well on the profit margin side of things. But not so bad. They're still at least turning a profit, but now that's going to be mega down in 2020 because of COVID. So this company is now running at a loss. So it does have big revenues. It doesn't have big revenue growth. It has only 4% profit margins, which is quite low. We want at least 20-30% for really amazing companies. And cash, we know that they have around 450 million, but we'll look at the cash flow statements to see how much cash that American Airlines had at the end of 2019. So cash flow statements, we're looking at their financials. Here again, you learn this in the Stock Guru Master Course. They had cash, net change in cash. You learn it you can take your time in the Stock Guru Master Course. Once you purchase it, you get lifetime access. Net change in cash and balance, they had 290 million, which they're sitting on right now, which isn't much cash. So on the fundamentals, American Airlines is not ticking the boxes. If 4 ticks, huge revenues, tick. $40 billion in sales. Huge revenue growth, no. 40 billion to 45 billion in 5 years, not much growth. That's not a tick. Huge profit margins? No, it's only making 4% profit margins before COVID. Huge amounts of cash? No, it's only got $219 million in cash. So it's not ticking those boxes. So this is kind of dangerous. Let's have a summary of American Airlines and explain my reasoning. Again, you learn all this, the technicals, the fundamentals in the Stock Guru Master Course, www.stockguru.us. Let's go into a summary of American Airlines. So in summary, the technicals are showing that American Airlines is a buy. However, all the timeframes are not matching. We're looking for companies on the technicals where all timeframes are trending up. That is not the case for American Airlines. It is recently showing some life, but I do find it a little bit dangerous. It can recover. If it doesn't go bankrupt, American Airlines is going to recover well, so you can play on a speculation play of the recovery. However, the technicals are not matching. The technicals are showing it is going to go up, but on all time frames, they're not trending up. And we like companies like on Disney, which you can also see on the channel today. We like companies where all technical time frames are matching. The trend is your friend, and they're all trending up. On the fundamental side of things, it is looking a little bit dangerous for American Airlines. Their sales are good. Their year-on-year sales revenue increases, not good. They're not growing very much. And now, because 2020, they're going to lose a lot more money. Net profit margin, very low, only 4%. And that was, again, before COVID. So their profit margin is now going to be terrible. Huge amounts of cash? No. They only have 290 million, and they're currently spending 150 million a quarter. So that's kind of dangerous for American Airlines. So on the fundamentals, I do not rate American Airlines a buy. Again, you can buy this company as a speculation play on a recovery, but I do not. Rule number 1 by Warren Buffett is don't lose money. Rule number 2 by Warren Buffett is don't forget rule number 1. So with this amount of cash that they don't have much capital. It can be dangerous for American Airlines. The American government said they will bail out the airlines if they do need to. So that is a bullish case. However, it is a speculation play. We're looking for, remember, on the Stock Guru channel, all my members, all the students that took the course, we're looking for companies with massive revenues, huge revenue year-on-year increases, massive profit margins, large amounts of cash, and all technical timeframes, all matching. The trend is heading up, and American Airlines does not match that. There are much better stocks to buy. However, you can buy American Airlines on the speculation play of a recovery, 100% potential gains, but I'd rather get 100% gains on companies that are definitely going to be going up with massive revenues, profit margins, and cash. I do not rate American Airlines a buy. I do give it a warning. It can be a buy on a speculation play, but dollar cost average over time into American Airlines, do not put a large amount of capital. I would split my investment even over 10 or 20 months. Dollar cost average, what I mean is I teach my students in the Stock Room Master course, you buy 10 companies, 5 in diversified industries, construction, medical, transportation, etc. 5 in the industry you love and believe in and you follow, mine being tech and biotech. 10 companies, say you had $100,000 in capital, you divide that $100,000 into 10 companies, $10,000 per company. In American Airlines, say you really want to buy it, even though I do not recommend it a buy, you have $10,000. That means splitting it up over 20 months to dollar cost average, splitting up your investment over time to protect your capital and to get the best possible entry over time. That means $500 a month you could invest into American Airlines with $100K in capital. That's my recommendations for American Airlines. You can buy it on a speculation play, but I do not recommend buying it. There is much better stocks where you don't need to worry about bankruptcy. So I hope you like this technical fundamental analysis of American Airlines. If you haven't yet joined the Stock Gurus, the 25,000 of us, which we hit today, big congratulations. Hit the subscribe button, the bell, and the thumbs up button so you're notified of these daily videos. Also, don't forget to check out the Disney video on the channel today. Everything you learn in this video, from the technicals to the fundamentals, you learn much more in depth in the Stock Guru Master course. I highly recommend you take the course. It's made many of my students multi-millionaires, and it's helped my students make more than 500 million in the US stock market. If you've been losing money in the stock market, if you've been buying stocks and not making huge returns like my students, or if you want to buy opulent villas like this, $1 million villas, and just be able to afford anything you want in life, you learn how in the Stock Room Master course. I also teach abundance of mindset abundance, how to have a lot of money, how to even turn $1,000 into millions of dollars. For example, if you took $1,000 invested when I told you to buy Tesla, originally it's 50 times your investment, $1,000 becoming $50,000. You find another company like Match Group up 14 times since I was buying at $11, telling my students, you're now at $140. $50,000 times 14, you're close to $700,000. Find another company like Unity, which in the last 3 months since I made that buy video, 4 months in, I made it on the channel just 4 months ago at the IPO at $52. Now you're up 300%. Your 750,000 becomes 2.1 million. That's how you can turn $1,000 into 2.1 million. But obviously over time, you're going to get more money. You're going to sell a car, or maybe in 3 years, you sell your house. You'll know exactly how to invest it to safely compound it and grow it with safe companies in the stock market. So you learn that again in www.stockguru.us. Take the course. Anyone that purchases before the 1st of February goes in the chance to win 5,000 USD. I'm going to announce the winner on the 1st of February. Also, while you take the course, I highly recommend joining the YouTube membership section, $99 a month. You see my live trades in my portfolio as I make them in the stock market. You see my limit price, the targets for my trade, the reasons for my trade, and my stop losses. You see it in the YouTube membership section. Usually I'm buying 1 to 3 companies a day in the US stock market, and I time my buys to be at perfect technical entries, so nearly automatic straight away in the profits. You can see the YouTube membership section. Join it there while you take the Stock Guru Master course. They go hand in hand very well together. This is James from Stock Guru. I hope you like this technical and fundamental analysis on American Airlines. I hope you have a beautiful Martin Luther King Day, a very relaxed day, long weekend, and you enjoy the day off. And tomorrow the market is going to be open on the Tuesday. Also, don't forget to check out that Disney video on the channel today. And big thank you for all the people that joined the live today. Tuesdays and Saturday night lives at 8 p.m. in Eagle's Nest. Join those lives. We had 300 students asking thousands of questions today. It was beautiful. This is James from Stock Guru. I wish you a beautiful, abundant day. Anytime you have any thoughts of lack or not being able to afford anything, or any mindset of lack or not abundance, throw those thoughts away. Only let your mind think of thoughts of abundance. You can afford anything. Money comes to you easily and effortlessly. Everything is available to you. Money comes to you easily. Think these kind of thoughts, and your mind first creates your reality. If you ask any of my billionaire friends, multi-millionaire friends, the first thing that, if you ask them how to make lots of money, if you ask me, the main thing is to have a mindset of abundance. And I teach this also in the Stock Guru Mastercourse. This is James from Stock Guru, and I'll see you again tomorrow.